Yeah. Guys, I hope everybody is safe out there and healthy. Like many of you, I gave myself a pandemic haircut today and, well, I got a little bit close to the side. So here's to baseball hats. All right, let's get serious. In this review, I took a look at the Milwaukee M18 FUEL 18 gauge 1/4 inch narrow crown stapler. So as a young carpenter, I first was introduced to the pneumatic crown staplers here in the workshop setting, where we were installing plywood backings to bookcases and cabinets. The crown stapler, I was taught, was great for securing 1/4 inch up to 3/8 inch plywood backing, way better than brads or finish nails, and it was a hell of a lot faster than using screws. Because the staple leaves a larger mark, it penetrates in 2 spots, we only use it in areas that are hidden. Later on the job site, I learned that you could use the crown stapler on things to install, like the dreaded aluminum soffits that I hate so much, flooring underlayment, drywall corner beading, and other applications where thin material is fastened to a wood substrate. We recently took this M18 FUEL 1/4 inch stapler to the workshop, and we used it on a bookcase project here, as well as ran it through some tests. This stapler accepts all 18 gauge 1/4 inch narrow crown staples between 3/8 of an inch up to 1.5 inches, regardless of brands. In my shop, I use the Bostitch 18 gauge 7/32 staple, the SX staples. These staples have a true measurement of 6 millimeters and fit exactly, they work perfectly in the magazine of the Milwaukee. With a compact 2.0 amp hour battery, this nailer is rated for a runtime of 1,400 staples. That's probably most staples that I install in a year. We tested the speed of the stapler, and we got about 4 to 5 staples per second, I think, which is probably very similar to a pneumatic nailer, and we were impressed that it has 0 ramp up time. It fires exactly when the trigger is pulled, and this is due to the internal mechanism of, it's a nitrogen air spring mechanism. So how does that work? Well, there's an inner cylinder where the piston and driver blade, or striker if you call it, rides. And then there's an outer cylinder. The area between those 2 cylinders are filled with nitrogen to a specified PSI. Milwaukee chose to use nitrogen, air basically, over air, for 2 reasons. First, nitrogen is not impacted significantly by swings in temperature as air is. That means that the tank pressure varies far less due to temperatures, resulting in more consistent stapling performance. And that's regardless of the working environment, hot or cold. Second, nitrogen is less likely to result in condensation and subsequent corrosion in the tank. So what I liked about this stapler is that I was able to get consistent crown staple set, period. It's got the power to drive an 1.5 inch staple, sub-flush into hardwood applications, and I tested it into maple, plywood, oak, mahogany, 0 negative issues. Once the depth of drive was dialed in, I was able to achieve consistent staple depth and drive, basically depending on that wood density and the length of the staple. I had to set that depth. The Milwaukee nailer tip is also similar to my Bostitch Smart Point noses, meaning that there's very little movement, a small movement, and it eliminates that need to really push the nailer in, which is nice. And I found that because of that, it improves visibility because it's narrow, and the nail placement is easy to figure out. The Milwaukee stapler has an angled battery on it, and that actually lets you sit the nailer up on edge, on upright, which is nice. There's a reversible belt clip, which basically allows the tool to hang straight down off your belt. The stapler has 2 buttons, basically. 2 control buttons, on, off, and mode. Mode is going to control your sequential and bump fire selections. One nice feature though on this nailer is the auto off feature. The nailer, once turned on, will stay on for 60 minutes. And this is going to eliminate you having to turn it back on and off, which is super annoying. All right, let's talk a little bit about improvements to this nailer. The stapler has an excellent corner access, meaning that I can get into corners pretty well, but it is still significantly larger than my pneumatic nailer, which is right here. Personally, I'd like to see the size and weight of the Milwaukee nailer come down. The second improvement would be to the LED light. It's located on the right side of the tool and illuminates the right side of the tool. The other side of the tool is completely cast in a shadow. Milwaukee probably could have avoided this by installing two or dual LED lights on the motor housing just below that depth of drive dial. Personally for me, this is a shop tool. I don't think I'd ever use a stapler in a dark closet. Maybe in a basement if you're doing corner bead, but the reality here is this tool does not need an LED light. And I feel like sometimes tool companies toss one on there just to say they have one. Okay, let's talk about cost. The Milwaukee Crown Stapler sells for $279 as a bare tool and $399 kitted. I already have the M18 battery, so when you amortize the cost of the bare tool, that's $23 a month, I should say, over the course of a year, and $11 over 2 years. Overall thoughts on this is the power, the fire rate, the ergonomics make this nailer really nice to use. It's like I'm using a pneumatic nailer. I'm always impressed when a battery operated tool fires instantly once the trigger is pulled and no ramp up time. This tool will fire 4 staples a second. It's a really high fire rate, guys. That's fast. We were impressed with the Crown Stapler. Look, there's no sacrifice here from going from pneumatic performance to this cordless performance. And at the end of the day, that's what we really want. I'm pretty sure this tool will become a staple in my tool trailer. Guys, look, if you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You don't have to do all of those things, just subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'm Rob Robillard. Please stay safe and stay healthy, everybody. Stay at home. See you at the next tool review.